Hey, this is Samantha here from RecipeThis.com and the voice behind the popular Kitchen Gadgets podcast, Magic with Gadgets. Today I want to show you how to make a soup maker, leek and potato soup. Well, before we dive into this recipe, I just wanted to suggest that you head over to RecipeThis.com. We've got more than 1,200 kitchen gadget recipes, including recipes for the air fryer, instant pot, slow cooker, soup maker, bread maker, microwave, Ninja Foodie, and many others. We also have a free weekly newsletter, which you can find on the homepage of RecipeThis.com, or you can find it on RecipeThis.com/newsletter. And there you can get our best kitchen gadget recipes sent to your inbox every Friday morning. So now on with this soup maker, leek and potato soup. What I actually do with this is I don't really have any particular quantities in mind, because I find that we're all on different brands of soup makers and some of them are really small, especially if you're using a Morphy Richards soup maker, because I know myself how many times I've been ramming, seeing how much stuff I could actually fit in it. So I'm going to give you the measurements over on RecipeThis.com if you search for leek and potato soup, but you know, just go with whatever you've got and whatever will fit in. And then another thing I'll mention is that quite often when I make leek and potato soup, it's a great way to use up leftovers. So I've got this leek that's past its best, I've got part of a bag of potatoes that need using up, and I've got some vegetable stock that was sat there in the fridge. So it's just a great opportunity to use up your stuff, make it in the soup maker. You can have it for dinner, and then of course if you have leftovers you can reheat them, or you can once they're cold you can load them into the freezer for another day. I've got this leek that's past its best, I've got part of a bag of potatoes that need using up, and I've got some vegetable stock that was sat there in the fridge. So it's just a great opportunity to use up your stuff, make it in the soup maker. You can have it for dinner, and then of course if you have leftovers you can reheat them, or you can once they're cold you can load them into the freezer for another day. So let's talk the main ingredients we've got. I've already discussed my past-it leek and my half bag of potatoes. Also suggest that you have some good vegetable stock, or if you haven't you can actually sub it for chicken stock, because it really does make your soups more flavoursome. Otherwise you fall into the trap of having, as people say when they have a bad soup that tastes like dishwasher water, because it's literally that bland when you've used just water. And then of course, to make it creamy, I recommend some Greek yogurt. I absolutely love the fat-free Greek yogurt from Aldi. It's my all-time favourite and I won't buy it from anywhere else. And then of course some salt and pepper, some garlic and onion powder, and some chives. You can mix up these seasonings, go with whichever ones you want. It's totally about personal choice and preference. And then also, because I'm using a leek that's quite soily, we'll be using our colander to be able to give them a good clean before they go into the soup maker. So let's get started, shall we? First of all, you want to move your stalks out the way and everything so that you can get in and get those potatoes peeled and your leek sliced. Like I say, I try and dump them into the slow cook soup maker, as soon as I can, because otherwise you're like, is it going to hold any more? But we've got the Ninja soup maker, and this holds a lot more compared to other ones. So let's start first with the leek. This top end is really bad, so I'm just going to lose it. And this is where you can see all this soil that needs a good wash. If you don't wash your leeks, then they can end up really gritty and taste awful. And then what I've actually found with the soup maker quantity that it can do in like the Morphy Richards, because we've previously owned that, versus the Ninja, is that the Ninja will hold about 40% more soup. So if you see any of our recipes, they're using the Ninja, then simply half the quantities of the items and then they should be fine for your Morphy Richards. So there we go, that's a good portion of leeks to use, because like I say, the soup makers don't hold as much. It's not like if you did a leek and potato in an instant pot or in a slow cooker, you just can't hold as much. So that's all the leeks. So now we're just going to go and wash the leeks. Right. So we've washed the leeks and now it's time to load them into the soup maker. Do this first rather than last because I can then fill it to bursting with potatoes, and then if I do it the other way around I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to fit all my leeks in. So we've done that now and you can see how full it is already. So now it's a case of doing your potatoes to go with it. So I just recommend a quick peel on some potatoes. You can put the main skin on if you prefer, it's totally up to you. So then once you've got a couple of potatoes peeled, you can start loading them up into the soup maker because it soon fills up. I think that's the complaint most people have, is about how small soup makers are. But you want some more in because otherwise it'll be more leek than it is potato. And then that's how it is at the moment with the amount that I showed you on the board. And now I'm just going to grab another potato from the bag just to give it a little bit more. There you go. And that's a good sized portion for your soup maker. You know, if you're wanting to, you could actually squeeze another 2 or 3 potatoes in there really. It just depends on how much soup you want to make. So once you've done that, and you've peeled your potatoes and diced them and added them in, cleaned your leeks and added those in, then you can start looking at adding in some seasonings. So salt, pepper, and then what I do is I've got an air fryer as well, and what I do is I dehydrate onion and garlic. And that's some of my onion and garlic that I've dehydrated, but you can use any dried onion and garlic. Just add a little bit in there. And then of course some chives. And then finally you want to be adding in some stock. So there's your stock added in. You notice the stock doesn't come to the top, and that's fine because it will mix up together, and then if you find it's too thick then you can add in some milk just to make it to the right consistency, and then if it's too thin you can add in extra Greek yogurt. So it's very easy to mess about with and alter depending on what ingredients you've used. And now that we've got everything in, it's time to put the lid on and set the time. So turn on your slow cooker, soup maker. You can tell I've got a lot of kitchen gadgets, I forget which one's which. And then you're looking for the smooth soup setting. So yours might be different to mine depending on which soup maker you've got, but I've got a smooth soup button, so I just press that now and it'll get started. It automatically sets to 30 minutes, and I find that with most soups that's too long. So I'll often intervene with it at about 25 minutes and then just put it on a blend. And it just depends on how thick your potatoes are as to what you need to do. And with a smooth soup setting, what it does is it constantly mixes your soup and blends it as it's cooking it, so it creates a much better soup. So like I say, a lot of the soup makers, soups are done in 25 minutes. For some reason the Ninja has an auto cooking feature for 30 minutes. They really don't need that long. So what I suggest you do is, if you are using one that's longer, is to take it off this. And you can turn it on and off to do this. And then, looking for the blend. And then you're looking for low because there's a lot of steam going on in there, and then just press it. And then after about 15 seconds, you want to get the lid off, mine's really tight for some reason. There's a lot of steam there, so careful on the steam. And you can see there you've got gorgeous leek and potato soup. But now I just want to make it even better. So I recommend that you add something, I call it a creamer because there's so many options here. I prefer to add some Greek yogurt. But you might prefer sour cream, for example, or you may prefer Philadelphia cream cheese. No matter what it is, just add your favourite choice in, and then just load it into your soup maker. And then as well as this, I also recommend adding a little bit extra seasoning because you have been boiling soup. So salt and pepper, and then a little bit of chives. And then we're just going to give it one last quick blast and it'll be done. And then you've got soup. And then just take a look at that. Soup looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. And look at the batch it makes. It's a brilliant sized batch in the Ninja. So if you are thinking about getting a soup maker, I would absolutely recommend the Ninja soup maker. So now I've allowed the soup maker to cool down the soup a little bit because it's so hot when you do leek and potato. So now, grab your favourite bowl and serve it up. As you can see, that is lovely creamy soup. You know, it's just absolutely perfect. And of course you could serve it with some extra Greek yogurt on top, maybe even some cheese depending on what mood you're in. Maybe grab a bread roll. Either way, it's just lovely. Let's try it, shall we? Oh, that is so nice. Oh, it's so creamy too. And like I said, if you have any leftovers, you can freeze it. You can also remove it from the soup maker, load it into the fridge, into bowls, and then just quickly microwave it for your next meal time. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the Recipe This family. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook and Pinterest. We also have a weekly newsletter at recipethis.com/newsletter where we share with you our latest kitchen gadget recipes, what we're cooking in the Milner kitchen, and so much more. As well as this, we recommend that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then whenever we have a new video, you will be the first to know. And if you want to know about all our future videos, then I recommend you hit the bell for instant notifications. But even better, we now have a podcast. It's called Magic with Gadgets. Simply search Magic with Gadgets on your favourite podcast player and you'll find us there.